Hello, everybody. I am Randy Michaelis, and today I'm going to talk to you about MidCon, or from what I could gather about it. And as some of you know, Chrissy Asti is my friend, and I do like Chrissy Asti. I think she's a good person, but I do have to criticize her on this. But even though I'm criticizing her, I do not want her to receive any nasty comments. I don't want any hate to be sent her way, but I'm pretty sure that all of my subscribers are nice. Usually my subscribers tend to be centrist. I do have like a mixed bag of subscribers. I have anti-feminists, feminists, and I have people who, are too decentered. But just in case somebody's new to my channel, watching me for the very first time, I'm just putting it out there that I do not want any hatred sent her way. But with that being said, I did catch some of what was happening. It seems like Steve Shives and Christy Winters were all trying to deplatform Sargon of Akkad. It seems that way. And I don't think that's right. I think that Sargon should be allowed to speak. I'm also a free speech advocate. I believe in free speech, and I believe that Sargon should be there. And he was like debating too. I mean, that should make the other side happy. Like, you could have debated him, you could have went there and asked him questions. So for me, I'm in the mindset of Phil Moriarty. Like, I was watching this live stream with Christy Winters, Chrissy Asti, Steve Shives, and Philip Moriarty. And I was like more in sync with Philip Moriarty, where it's kind of like let's start gonna speak and be in the audience and ask him challenging questions. I mean, it's kind of like when the situation is reversed at VidCon, and it was Anita Sarkeesian on stage, and the audience, asked Anita Sarkeesian a bunch of hard, difficult questions like, does she believe in her statements? Which, I mean, I think it was an easy thing to answer, but oh well. But it's kind of like the feminist community is like, well, she's been gaslighted, she's been gaslighted when really, I don't think Sargon would have cared if people in the feminist community, were to, fill up the audience and start asking him questions. Like, if the roles were reversed, I think Sargon would have handled himself well. And in a sense, the feminist dream come true did happen. Like, there was person there to challenge Sargon. He just did a poor job at it. But before I get into that, I am going to get into that in a little bit. But I wanted to talk more about trying to shut Sargon down. And I think that the people at VidCon had to spend like $3,000 to continue with the events. And there are atheist teenagers still living in Christian households. There are atheist teenagers that are still getting kicked out of their homes. There are atheists who still lose their job because they're atheists. So this is like an important event, but you're trying to take the platform Sargon and burn this event down, or whatever. And it's kind of like I think, I'm not sure, but I think Chrissy Asti said something along the lines, I could barely remember, but I think she said something like, people need to be warned about MythCon. People need to be warned. When again, still, there are atheist teenagers that still get kicked out of their houses. when they're teenagers, so they're left homeless. There are, atheists, who still get fired. So this whole like Chrissy Asti, these people need to be like warned about MidCon, and I'm gonna tell so many feminists about it, and go over their heads. All it did was cause the event to spend like 3,000 extra dollars. And, to me, it just kind of backfired on all of their faces because it just makes people hate the feminist community even more. To the events itself, feminist Twitter was all like, Sargon said, I wouldn't even rape you. This was from ContraPoints, and I had a fun time talking to ContraPoints. I hope ContraPoints comes to my channel again sometime. And Chrissy Asti brought it up. So many people in the feminist sphere was holding on to Sargon said, um last year, I wouldn't even rape you to Jess Phillips. And Chris Cassidy was like, I've been raped, and I hate the atheist community. And that's what Chris Cassidy says. She says that she absolutely hates the atheist community because she's been raped before. Whereas me, I've been sexually assaulted, not raped, but I've been sexually assaulted. And for me, I still don't care that Sargon was there. And I watched the live stream like on his channel, and I think Sargon did a good job actually. The other guy just kept bringing up Jess Phillips. I wouldn't even rape you. I wouldn't even rape you. I wouldn't even rape you. And I reached out to Sargon. I probably should have just had this up. I'll probably see if I could bring it up right quick, but I probably, if I can't bring it up right quick, I'll just leave it out. But Sargon did respond to me on that one, on why he said that he wouldn't even rape her. He actually also explained it in the video too. Um uh, yeah, like Sargon says to me, it was a political event too, not just an off the cuff statement. And he gave me a link, and I'll put this link in the description below so you can read it yourself. But Sargon did reach out to me, and he explained why he said I wouldn't even rape you. And but the other guy at VidCon, he was so rude and nasty, and feminist Twitter left that out. And I feel like it's kind of like a lie of omission. It still kind of feels like my side, your side. This is my side, so he's not going to be criticized. This is your side, so damn you. But when it comes to the other guy who was a lot like, he kept bringing up that Sargon said I wouldn't even rape you like a dozen times. But not only that, but he insulted the audience. He said, you are a bunch of misogynists. You are a bunch of terrible people. You're horrible. You're misogynist. You're sexist. You're anti-female. You're this, you're that. He just kept insulting the audience. And then like at 2:40, the event was over, but he was like 2:40. He got up and he walked out, and Sargon remained. And anybody who watched the whole thing in Sargon's channel, Sargon came out of it smelling like a rose, because it seems like the only thing feminists have done is overreacted. And this is coming from me, a person who's been sexually assaulted myself. I just listened to Sargon, and I really just didn't care that he tweeted out, I wouldn't even rape you, because when you like listen to like why, I mean, it, I listened to his reasoning why, and I just didn't really see the big deal. And Chrissy Asti brought up, like, she wrote an article where she said something about Anita Sarkeesian, and Sargon brought her up 30 times in videos. I counted like 3 times. Sargon counted 5 times. But, if you're going to say that Sargon, brought up Anita Sarkeesian like 30 times in his videos, you would need to cite the sources, and you also would need to give a direct link to it. Like, you had to go to channel, and you had to go through each and every single last video where he brought up Anita Sarkeesian. You can't make the claim without showing evidence. But for me, I only counted 3, but Sargon himself counted 5. I don't know how much his audience have noticed, but I do think that this thing is like self destructive. It only hurts the feminist community when you overreact, when you're overreacting like Sargon is this big, huge monster, because it puts people in a position where they can't take you seriously. And again, they ignored the other guy who just kept insulting the crowd. All he did was call the crowd misogynist and terrible people. And, it was just so rude and mean and nasty that I think that all it did was cause Sargon to be even more popular than he already is, and for even more people to hate the feminist community. Like, I think that the feminist community is probably at its death throes, because you probably accumulated more enemies. I mean, not only that, but the people at the VidCon guys, not the VidCon guys, but the MidCon guys, they talked about being bullied, being harassed. Sargon mentioned on stage that they made the MidCon guy's wife cried. They got his wife to cry, but they don't even care that they got a woman to cry, because she's not a feminist. So if she cries, it's no big deal. So yeah, I do think that the feminist community is in the wrong here, And again, I like Chrissy Asti. She's my friend. It's not my intention for her to get nasty comments because of me. But I do think that, her side and her friends are in the wrong. And Sargon, he seems to be in the rights here. He didn't do anything wrong. So that's my take on it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you agree, like, comment, subscribe, and share it everywhere. Put it on Twitter, Facebook, Minds, Gabby I. If you disagree, leave me a comment telling me why, and I'll address your comments. This has been Ren Michaelis. Bye bye.